I appreciate being able to be with you today, especially being with the folks at Derbyshire Baptist. I remember well the 4 years or the 10 years actually that Diane and I were in Richmond, being members of the church, loving the people, and then having the opportunity for a time to be your interim pastor. My connection extends to your pastor and his wife and family. I had the great pleasure of preaching the ordination service for Regina and for Jeff when they were ordained to the ministry. So I feel a lot of connections with Derbyshire. What I want to do today is talk about the deacon and talk about the deacon in terms of various kinds of ministry. Over the 5 times that we have together, I'll be selecting a different kind of ministry and talking about that. Today, I want to talk about the ministry of initiative. Not long ago, I was watching a service on the computer. A former student of mine, it was deacon ordination service in their church. At the end of the deacon ordination service, I think the minister was trying to find the words to conclude the service. So I looked at the congregation and he said, "If you need anything, call your deacon." The problem was that I knew that church, and what I knew was that nobody in the church really knew who their deacon was at that time. So the only option that we had was to get a roster of all the deacons and keep calling until we finally found the one who was our deacon. I don't suggest that, though, as a way to approach how to connect people in the congregation with those who are serving as their deacons. What I want to do is talk about 4 things under the ministry of initiative that I believe are vitally important. Initiative is important because that is the way that God came to us. It is still the way God comes to us. We don't have to go find God. It is God who finds us. So therefore, when we are serving in a servant role in the church, our job is not to say to people, "You call us" or "You find us." Our job as servant ministers is to take the initiative to connect with them. So several things I want to suggest. First of all, you need to make contact with the people who are in your deacon group. By making contact, it may be a phone call in which you ask about how they're doing. You find out whether the best way to stay in touch with them would be either by a telephone or a visit. You find out the various ages of the people who are in your deacon group. You're going to know, for example, if you have people who are older in that group, that probably a personal visit from you is going to be very important. The second thing is learn about them. Learn about their families. Learn about the things that have been important to them in their lives. If you have a family with 4 children who are active in all kinds of things, you want to learn their names so that when you are in contact with the people, you're able to say, "You were telling me about Jeff, who's playing flag football this year. Tell me how his team is doing and how Jeff is enjoying it." There's nothing like calling people by name and remembering the things that are important to them. Another thing that we need to remember is that each person is important. I say that because always there are certain people whom we like better than others, whom we're more attracted to. But if you and I are called to be ministers, we don't have the choice of selecting just the people who say things the way we do, who do life the way we do. We have the responsibility to see everybody as important. That means sometimes that you and I as servant ministers have to listen to complaints about things, but that's all right. There are some people who have some things to say that are important to them. And you and I, as servant ministers, taking the initiative, we need to hear those things. The final thing is that we need to find out ways in which the church can minister to these people. It's wonderful that you are their deacon, that you're taking them as very important, that you're caring for them. But what can the church do to bring these people together? I know of one church, each year they do a Valentine's party for all of the widows in their church. The deacons serve the food, they help to cook the food, they make sure that everybody who is invited has transportation, they take the people home, and while they are there, maybe the most important thing, they have a chair in which each woman sits one at a time and has her picture taken with the pastor. Then that picture is given later to each one of the widows who came that night. What are the things that you and I can do to make people feel valuable, to make them feel important, to make them feel that Christ loves them and cares for them, and all of that is reflected in the way in which we take initiative and serve them. It's so good to be with you today, and I look forward to the other 4 sessions that we have.